Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. Michael Zuber, one rental at a time. As promised in the daily financial news, we start Tuesday strong with the one and only Lumberjack Landlord. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing awesome. Super excited to be here. Did a 3-hour live stream on Sunday.
Woo!
Yeah. Yep. The voice held up and I didn't die after. So it was good.
Feeling better.
Well, like a champion.
There you go. Well, hey, something I mentioned on the daily financial news this morning, I did kind of a mini rant about inflation. But as I said in the daily financial news, I wanted to dig into this with you a little bit more for a couple of reasons. First and foremost, we have been very clear on this channel that inflation was coming for months, probably 6 months. We've told people it was coming. Get ready, be careful, refi debt, get some dry powder. All of these things we have been saying, well, it's here now.
Yeah.
And I saw something yesterday that set me off, which doesn't happen a lot, right? I've been through the war so many times now. Not many things can set me off. But Nancy Pelosi gets the honor of light my fuse yesterday.
Okay.
And again, I'm not red or blue or, conservative or liberal or any of that, right? I try to do my best to read both sides and live in the middle, but damn, she pissed me off last night. So here we go.
Yeah.
Nancy Pelosi stated on Friday, so I found it yesterday, that inflation was solely
only because
just in case you have
make it so I can understand as a ninth grade dropout. Solely, so as in only because, yes.
Inflation was only because of is Vladimir Putin's fault. Only Vladimir Putin's fault, and insisted that meaning Congress, additional multi-trillion-dollar deficit spending is going to reduce the national debt. Deficit spending, reduce the national debt.
Yeah, I heard it.
And not add to inflation. I'm not even sure those words belong in the same sentence. I mean, it's like giant shrimp or something. I mean, come on. You're going to spend you're going to deficit spend $1.9 trillion and that's not going to grow the deficit. How does that work?
I think she's probably just angry about her $20 million stock portfolio taking such a hit over the last 3 months.
Greatest insider trader. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the greatest insider trader of all time. Listen, I don't care red or blue. It doesn't make any difference to me. I voted blue and I voted red. I voted both sides. I absolutely have. And it was all about the person that I was the most aligned with.
Yeah, of course.
And at the end of the day, she's an idiot. That's not math. That's just, it's math. And what she's talking about is not math. We have had persistent inflation, CPI, PPI, right down the list, month after month after month after month, for months and months and months and months. It was not only way before Putin invaded, it was way before Putin even farted that he was going to invade. Yeah. So it's just complete lunacy. People need to do their own homework, Marv, and they need to figure it out. And they need to be listening to a lot of different sources of data so that when they hear something like this, they can call it out and go, this is total lunacy. They are doing something that they shouldn't be doing. And this is going to hurt us. Because for her to say that, the only thing that spending trillions of dollars does now is mean that poor people and the middle class get crushed in the next 3 years. Yeah. That's the only thing it means. We will get a temporary high, basically UBI, and people will get absolutely obliterated in 23, 24, and 25.
Yeah. Already. So again, we've been trying to warn people to get ready for this. And we've always said that inflation is a regressive tax, meaning it hurts the bottom more than the top. The top doesn't care if gas is $10 a gallon.
Nope.
But most people do.
Yep.
Nancy, you're hurting most people.
Most people.
The
Absolutely.
people that have $20 million stock portfolios like yourself and your husband, you don't care.
Nope.
But most people care. I read a study the other day that most people are spending an additional $300 a month and their living standard is going backwards.
Yep.
That's inflation.
Yep.
That's not because of Putin.
Yep.
I mean, let's be clear. Putin's causing a lot future pain.
Yep.
But we got a 10% PPI print today. We got a 7.9%, which is more like 11.2 when you correct for the rent error. And that was long before he even, like you said, farted about this invasion. So
Yep.
Nancy, now we all understand what you're trying to do. You're trying to save the midterm elections. I get it. But this just infuriates me because, again, you're hurting most people. It gets worse.
We need people to not just consider themselves, but consider others.
Mm-hmm.
And this economy is not about Wall Street.
No,
it is about Main Street. So I don't give two craps if some guy on Wall Street who creates nothing goes from a $9 million bonus to a $1 million bonus.
Don't care.
I believe that you should be paid commensurate with the value that you bring.
Yep.
And that is something that's in every sales guy since the dawn of time, because we sign up for largely only 30 or 40% of our overall compensation to be guaranteed. Exactly. We're making a 60 or 70% bet on us
every time,
every single day, every single month, every single quarter, every single year, that we will execute our job.
Yep.
And so I have no interest. And again, we're creating something. We're creating some value there in the marketplace. And it's just, it really does blow my mind how stupid and clueless these people can be. But moreover, you have to be a complete moron if you voted for her. After hearing this.
Yeah, I'm not going there. This is clearly wrong. I don't want to, I mean, if you want to vote for it, it doesn't matter.
My words, but if people are making those statements and hurting real people, how do you vote for that person? Like, again, it's not red or blue. It is what people are saying. There is bad on both sides of the aisle. I promise. Tons of it.
For sure.
But you have to take the time and consider what somebody is saying and take them for their word. She has no problem spending people that are, I mean, Mike, think about all the people.
The way she is basically, with that statement, she's basically saying, we know that we meaning Congress, caused the average family to spend an extra $300 a month, but it's Putin's fault. I mean, how does that work? That's just, but I'm not done. I got more firewood for this. She's just the start. She was the lighter. And at that point I started diving into more stuff. The president of the United States, meanwhile, has decided to blame corporate greed. So, okay, we got Congress blaming Putin. We have the president of the United States blaming corporate greed. And again, I'm sure some corporations are finding an opportunity to increase profits, but I promise you, they were doing that already. It was already out there. This is not a new thing.
No.
So again, that is what concerns me is about that talk track is something I talked about 9 or 10 months ago. I think he's testing an idea. And if that sticks, the next thing we're going to do is price controls. And if anybody wants to know how bad price controls, go back and look and see what Jimmy Carter did. It was not good.
Like, Biden's in competition right now with Jimmy Carter for worst president in our, in the last 100 years. Like, it is not going well for him. And at the end of the day, again, we talk about this because I don't care about Biden. I care about the policy. I want to see, even with rents, right? We have not raised all of our rents as much as we could because we're not trying to break the backs of our tenants.
Yeah.
We're not. We're working with them.
Yep.
We're working with them saying, hey, listen, my costs went up this much more.
Yeah.
How the units that I pay for fuel on, heating fuel, my heating fuel when I filled up in the beginning of the season was $2.59 a gallon. It is now $4.79 a gallon.
And how many gallons does it take to fill up? I have no idea.
275 gallons to fill a tank.
Oh, and how long does the tank last?
So, depending on the house, between 4 and 6 weeks in the wintertime.
Oh my God. So your costs are gone up $6,000 for the winter?
Yep.
Yeesh.
And these are on the tenants that can least afford it.
Yeah.
You know, this is what we do. We try and help out our tenants.
Yeah.
And what am I going to do? I wrote a check for I spent probably $12,000 more in fuel this year
Mhm.
than I did last year. $12,000.
And it's not done.
And I'm not, well, yeah, and our winter's not necessarily done yet. But the other big thing to that too is not only is winter not done, but we're also going to have to go down the path of what's it going to look like next October, November when these people are still in lease. And so I'm looking at them and I'm just saying, I mean, yeah, I'm the landlord. I'm going to pay for it way it goes, but I'm trying to do the right thing. Like the whole reason that I include rent is because that way the person only has to focus on making one payment.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it. They just got to make one payment.
Yeah.
And Mike, these are in our low income affordable housing units.
Mm.
That's who you're hurting. And so again, people need to understand exactly what people are saying and take their word for it. The other bone that I have to pick real quick is I agree. So United Nations says 22% increase in cost for food.
I saw that. Oh my goodness.
Right?
Coming. 22% increase coming.
Do you know how much corn the US plants and then what percentage of that it uses for fuel, for ethanol?
No idea.
40% of the food we grow, we use for gasoline ethanol.
Oh, really? Is that still a thing? Ethanol?
It is.
Oh my God.
It is the E85 stuff. So crazier than that is it takes how many pounds of corn to create 1 gallon of fuel?
No idea.
26 pounds.
Oh my God.
Hey, Mike, should we be using 26 pounds of food for 1 gallon of gasoline?
Probably not for the next year or so.
Probably not for a while.
Yeah.
Probably not for a while. I would think a better idea would be leveraging the resources that we know we have in energy. You know, now I'm doing all this research down the nuclear path, not to go nuclear, but to understand what the opportunity is. We get 25% of our fuel from Russia for our nuclear fuel. 25% of it comes from Russia.
Wow.
Why is no one talking about that?
I don't
know. Yeah, I think at the end of the day, I think people need to do research. I think you need to align yourselves, really understand what the politician that you're going to vote for is, because quite frankly, they are supposed to be a representative of us, the people.
Not insider traders trading their own book. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I was actually really proud when I saw both sides of the aisle in my state actually support the bill that says, if you're in public office at that level, you are not allowed to trade.
Oh, absolutely.
And I mean, Mike, think about too, a lot of these people are $180,000 a year after they retire for the rest of their lives.
Yep. Yeah.
Come on, guys.
Well, and just so we know, there's more wood on this fire. There's a Republican, just so we can make this all equal.
Yep.
Jerome Powell, if you don't know, he is a Republican.
Yep.
And oh, by the way, he's the one that I hold to the highest standard. He is our Fed president. Right. Sure. Let's be very clear, right? Nancy's a politician. So, hey, if she doesn't know, she doesn't know. Biden, politician. If he doesn't know, he doesn't know. Powell, Mr. Republican in this case, you should know better.
Of course.
The Federal Reserve insists that higher prices are a result of supply chain dysfunctions.
I mean, I think it's certainly part of it, but it's not all of it.
It is a lot less than people have thought, hoped, said. Here's the deal. We have learned, if anybody bothered to go back and look at history, like the 50-year spreadsheet and all that other nonsense, inflation is and has always been a monetary phenomenon. Meaning, if you print too much money and you don't raise goods and services, the only answer is inflation. So Donald Trump, President Biden, Joe Biden, you guys spent about $6 trillion raining down on the people because we shut our economy down. I get it. But that $6 trillion is going to be spent somewhere. And yeah, the supply of stuff didn't go up.
Right.
So the answer is inflation. That's why we have double-digit inflation. That's why we will have double-digit inflation for months and months to come. So Nancy, it's not Putin's fault. You may blame him for the next 2 or 3%. Mr. President Biden, it is not because of corporate greed. Sure, maybe a point of it is, but there's 8 points of it. So, And Jerome Powell, come on, man.
Yeah.
You know
Bob
better
Corker.
than that.
We can add Bob Corker to that list too.
Yeah.
Bob Corker's a Republican out of Tennessee who is like, you know what? We should be paying the $5.50 or $6 a gallon.
Oh, good.
Dude, based on what? Based on a complete lack of energy policy and understanding. Like, Mike, in anything that we've ever done, we always knew what our organizations did great.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And then when you know what your organization does great, everything you do, you filter through that because you know that your client's always going to get a great result when you take that approach. And as soon as you start to see it going another way, you're like, no, we got to get back over here. Because if we don't, this is the pain path. I like to go the happy path.
Yeah.
And so the problem that we have is that as a country, we need to be understanding of each other. The landlord-tenant relationship only works if we're working together. And again, I'm not trying to squeeze the last dime out of every one of my tenants. We're talking with them. We're like, listen, we know gas prices are up. We know, but our heating prices are way up. And so we want to work with you. And so I'm not looking to make any more than what I made last year, percentage wise. So let's work together to that end. And I think that a lot of these politicians, the mistake that they make is that I hate when they're like, well, I talked to Janie in the coffee shop a week ago, and here's what she told me. I have an idea. Act like a human. Talk to more than one person. Talk to a bunch of people. Understand what you're voting for and understand what you're doing. You're hurting real people. And like I said, it just, we could go up a lot more on our rents, and we just aren't.
Yeah.
We just aren't. We're trying to work with people and say, listen, we know tough times are coming. So we want to work with you.
Yeah. So as I kind of wrap this up, what has annoyed me and got me all upset was we have 3 institutions that are supposed to be serving the people, not the rich and not themselves: Congress, the president, and the Fed. The Fed refuses to consider that inflation is due to a dizzying expansion of the US money supply, largest since 1943. Congress refuses to consider that inflation is due to their insane deficit spending. And the White House refuses to consider that inflation is due to anti-competitive regulations and constant attacks on capitalism. Folks, inflation is here. I've been telling you it's coming. Inflation is a tax. Don't let Congress and the politicians tell you we're going to tax the rich. All of you are spending 300 times 12 is $3,600 a month after taxes, which is like an extra $5,000. How many of you have an extra $5,000? Not many. It is because of printing money. We've got to pay the piper. Jerome Powell needs to do his job and raise at least half a point tomorrow. Else this inflation is going to be bad all year. So there's my rant. Lumberjack, where can people find you?
Lumberjack Landlord on YouTube and Lumberjack Landlord on Instagram, and live streams 11:30 a.m. Eastern time. Sundays, we go 3 hours usually till the questions stop. We kind of do the Dion thing.
Wow. Crazy. Thanks, buddy.